Hi, today we will explain the plot of the film Held, which was released in 2020. Well, let's get straight to the story. One night, a young girl named Emma was drinking with two men in a car. One of the men named Sean then locked the door and closed the car windows tightly. He gave orders to his other friend to force Emma to sleep together. Years after the incident, Emma is now the wife of Henry Barrett, and she is on her way to a house in the middle of an orchard to celebrate their 9th wedding anniversary. She is driven by an online taxi driver named Joe, who is quite curious about Emma and wonders why she is traveling alone. Her husband, Henry, says he will catch up tomorrow night as he has some office work to finish. Briefly, Emma answers Joe's questions while filling out her diary. A short while later, they arrived at the remote house. Joe said he often hunted around here but had never seen the house. After helping unload Emma's things, Joe seemed hesitant. Apparently, he wanted to ask for a tip for his services. Without hesitation, Emma gave him a tip. Then Joe excused himself. After Joe left, Emma went inside and locked the house with an automatic alarm system. Emma then spent the afternoon alone, looking around the house. The house was modern and minimalist and very cozy. In fact, Emma didn't even need to prepare food or drinks because the kitchen was equipped with cutlery, food in the fridge, and spices. She checked the instruction manual left in the center of the room and noticed the tight security of the door. In her room, she unpacked her clothes from her bag and went to get her pen and diary. However, her diary was not in her bag. She was annoyed that she might have left it in the taxi. Emma decided to swim until evening. After taking a shower, the door of the house was banged loudly. Emma opened the door, but no one was outside. There was only a bunch of roses that she thought were from Henry. She happily took the flowers inside and placed them in the kitchen. She was having a good time drinking wine and putting on some music when she accidentally spilled some on the kitchen table. As she bent down to wipe the dripping drink onto the floor, Emma heard the sound of her drink echoing, flowing through the floor. Emma checked around the kitchen table with a flashlight. She found a button hidden under the table. However, just as she was about to press the button, her mobile phone vibrated. Seeing the caller's name, Emma hesitated whether or not to accept the call. Her doubts were soon dispelled by the headlights of a car entering the yard. As it turned out, it was Henry. Emma didn't expect Henry to come tonight, but her husband said there was a change that allowed him to catch up with Emma now. They then relax in the backyard and chat about what Emma has been doing at home. Henry tried to make the atmosphere warmer, but Emma seemed reluctant. Henry felt disappointed that Emma didn't welcome him. Finally, they went back in and decided to rest. Emma locked the door and made sure her alarm was on. She sees the disappointment in Henry, but Henry doesn't want to talk about it. He asks Emma to get him a drink. Then, Henry catches up with his son who just got engaged. Before going to bed, Emma charges her mobile phone on the small table, but suddenly she feels very dizzy. Henry thought she had drunk too much too soon and helped her lie down. Soon, he himself also felt dizzy and fell asleep. In the middle of the night, in a semi-conscious state, Emma thought she saw someone wearing a black mask in her room. The next morning, she woke up to 2 cups of coffee and a rose. Emma was shocked to see that her nightwear had changed, even though it wasn't what she had been wearing while sleeping. She immediately woke Henry, who was struggling to get up from his rest. He complains that he drank too much last night. Emma recounts what happened and asks if Henry woke up early to prepare for it all. Puzzled, Henry says he just woke up, then checks the greeting card tucked in with the flowers and coffee. The happy anniversary card doesn't say who the sender is. The weirdness didn't stop there. Henry decided to call the property manager to report the irregularities. However, their mobile phones were gone. Henry saw shoes in the room that weren't his, and other people's clothes hanging in the wardrobe. All their belongings had been swapped. They then rushed to leave, but unfortunately, they didn't have their car keys. Suddenly, they heard footsteps outside. Henry got out of the car and told Emma to go back into the house to look for the car keys, while Henry himself looked for traces of the man. At first, Emma was apprehensive about separating herself, but Henry urged her to follow his orders. Emma rushed inside and locked the door. Then, she picked up the corded phone to call for help. However, a voice answered the phone before Emma could even dial any numbers. The voice told her to obey orders. The home TV screen suddenly lit up, playing some CCTV footage from yesterday to the present as Emma stood confused in the center of the room. Emma looked around until she found a CCTV camera on the ceiling. Henry then banged on the door and forced his way in. He said someone had attacked him and his head was bleeding. Before their confusion was over, the phone rang. This time, the owner of the voice explained what they wanted from Emma and Henry. Just like he told Emma, the couple had to obey his orders and not try to escape. Henry suddenly hung up the phone. Henry tried to exit through another door. However, their attempt was immediately blocked. All the automatic locks were activated and the windows were closed. Frantically, they looked for a way to escape. Emma tried to smash a window, but instantly her ears started ringing painfully. Apparently, the owner of the voice terrorizing them has implanted something in Emma and Henry's skin. Soon, the voice warns that any defiance they commit will be met with immediate consequences. Henry doesn't like listening to that nonsense. He moved to remove the CCTV camera from the ceiling, but he was immediately chastised like Emma. The owner of the voice continued his game and re-emphasized that all they had to do was obey orders. The voice said, "Obedience is a strong foundation for growth. If they did not waver, they would survive." Henry and Emma were then told to enter the room. The owner of the voice told Henry to open the door for Emma, while Emma had to return Henry's kindness with a smile and thanks. After complying with all that, the owner of the voice told them to shower and wear the clothes provided. Emma was asked to dress up. Then Henry was told to give Emma a gift because he thought a husband should often give gifts to his wife. Emma opened the gift, which contained a bottle of perfume and a romantic greeting card. The owner of the voice then asked Henry to spray the perfume on Emma. While whispering, he promised to get them out of the situation. After that, the owner of the voice told them to go to the kitchen to get ready for dinner. She didn't allow Emma to go out the door first, but Henry had to open the door for Emma. In the kitchen, Emma was told to cook, while Henry took a laptop from the living room. Although there was no Wi-Fi connection, on the laptop, there was a document containing romantic text messages sent by a man named Ryan to Emma. Henry is asked to read the messages, word for word, to Emma. Both were shocked, but Henry had to continue reading despite feeling hurt. Evidence of Emma's infidelity becomes clearer when an intimate video recording of Emma and Ryan is played. Henry is ready to vent his frustration, but the voice tells him to sit back and act normal. Then, he forces Henry and Emma to have dinner together. It was only at the dinner table that Henry asked who Ryan was and how long they had been in contact. Emma briefly explains how she met Ryan, but she admits that her relationship with Ryan has long since ended. A mysterious voice watched their argument without interrupting. Until Henry, who felt very upset, ended the dinner and went to the room. Feeling remorseful, Emma catches up with Henry. In the room, the owner of the voice puts up a video of their wedding dance and forces them to dance like in the video. Although still not ready to make up, Henry obeys the mysterious voice and listens to the next command. The mysterious voice then forces them to sleep together, according to his instructions. However, Henry felt it was not worth witnessing. Henry also rebelled. As a result, he electrocuted Henry until he was limp and bleeding. Emma hysterically helps Henry get up and treats his wounds. While chatting, Henry said he apologized for losing control. They reminisce about what happened in the past, when they were young, and Henry forced Emma to sleep together in Sean's car. This experience haunts Emma to this day, but she forgives Henry. The next day, they are surprised by the arrival of Joe, the taxi driver who dropped Emma off yesterday. Joe says he wants to return Emma's diary that she left behind. Emma and Henry rush to the door to give Joe the code. Through the peephole, Emma fiddles with a torch. Joe sees the code and immediately climbs over the fence, but the masked man appears suddenly, immediately blocking Joe and beating him. Emma and Henry's hopes of getting out of the house are dashed. In the midst of her despair, Emma suddenly had an idea. She recognizes the masked man who broke into her room the night before. While the masked man was still outside dealing with Joe, Emma deduced that he was the only one talking to them all this time. She then removes the CCTV camera in the living room because she is sure that no one is watching now. Then, Emma told Henry that she saw a secret room under the kitchen table. Without much effort, Henry found a button that opened a small door under the kitchen table. The door turned out to lead to a small underground room. Emma crawled underneath, while Henry watched from above. Unfortunately, they were spotted. The masked man rushes to immobilize Henry and pulls Emma out. Later that night, Emma and Henry wake up from their anesthetic. Before their ordeal is over, she sees someone in the living room, tied up and unconscious. They approach the man, who turns out to be Ryan. Emma tries to untie Ryan, but the masked man's voice stops her. Feeling scared, Emma didn't dare to disobey the order either. The masked man explains that he brought Ryan as a consequence of Emma's infidelity. Henry, who was furious, confronted Ryan until he became angry. Ryan did not accept Henry's yelling. They argued until Henry grabbed a knife nearby, but the masked man said only Emma could kill Ryan. If Emma doesn't want to, the masked man won't stop torturing Henry. Ryan begged her not to sacrifice him, and he still loved Emma very much. In the midst of the dilemma, Emma finally decided to stab Ryan and apologize to him. Afterwards, Emma felt very guilty. Henry, who also felt guilty for indirectly making his wife kill someone else, tried to calm her down. Henry promised to protect Emma no matter what. He then went to get an alcoholic drink that would ease Emma's mind. However, Emma remembered that the drink had made her and Henry dizzy at the beginning of this incident. She had also noticed that the injection liquid that the masked man had given them was the same color. So Emma quietly threw the drink under the bed table, then pretended to have drunk it all. After that, she lay down to appear unconscious. As expected, the masked man came over to make sure Emma was sleeping. After the man left, Emma sneakily called out to Henry, who had not returned yet. The house was eerily quiet. Emma's attention was drawn to the slightly open wardrobe door. Apparently, behind it was a secret room where the masked man monitored their activities. In the room, there was a wide monitor showing an advert for a community called the Eden Group. The group's mission is to create harmonious and happy couples through a series of insightful methods. The advert was also complete with testimonials from couples who had been their victims. However, the tension on their faces was clear. Emma then finds video footage of her and Henry's surveillance during their stay. In one video, Emma saw that Henry had thrown away the booze they had enjoyed the night before. This made Emma suspicious, as Henry appeared to be under the influence of drugs, like he had been all along. To add insult to injury, in the next video, Henry is seen smearing what Emma thinks is blood in the garden. She also reveals video footage of Henry and the masked man working together to tie Ryan up in the living room. As it turns out, from the start, the two of them had conspired to play a prank on Emma. Suddenly, the motion monitoring sensor on the monitor beeped. Emma saw Henry and the owner of the voice, who had removed his mask, walking towards the house. This man is known as Nathan, Henry's business partner who presented the Eden Group advert. Emma rushed back to the room and pretended to faint. She listens to Henry and Nathan's conversation without moving a muscle. Here, Henry admits that he is getting used to blood. Henry then carried her to the car. Henry whispered to Emma that it would all be over soon. Afterwards, Henry meets Nathan to thank him for their partnership. Nathan gave Henry the keys to the car, but they discovered that it wasn't the right key. They went back into the house to look for the key. Meanwhile, Emma hurriedly got up and moved to the driver's seat. She had smuggled the car keys before. She pondered for a moment, remembering the motion monitor around her neck. With great difficulty and pain, she prized the device out of her skin. However, just as she was ready to escape, Nathan appeared at the car window. Emma screamed in panic as Nathan forced open the car door and dragged Emma out. However, Emma managed to escape to the farm as fast as she could until she tripped. Emma scrambled to hide and let the man search for her while babbling that she should stay with Henry. Eventually, Emma punched Nathan until he hit his head on a tree root. After Nathan dies, Emma takes the car keys from Nathan's pocket as well as the smart bracelet that controls them in the house. Shortly afterwards, Henry appears behind her, shocked to see Nathan. Emma was silent for a moment, but she didn't want Henry to know what she'd done. Emma pretended that she was relieved to see that Henry was okay. She said Nathan had attacked her in the car, then persuaded Henry to leave. On the way back to the car, Henry is suspicious of the blood droplets on Emma's shirt that appear to be coming from her neck. He hurriedly prevented Emma from getting into the car, then invited her to get their things at home. Emma felt something was wrong, but she tried to hold herself together and followed Henry. Before entering, Emma told Henry to open the door for her. It was just Emma's trick so that she could hide Nathan's bracelet behind her back. As Henry went into the room to pack his things, Emma pressed the bracelet. However, it turned out that the movement detector on Henry's skin had come off. The electricity in the house flickers unsteadily and convinces Henry that Emma has exposed his rottenness. He violently pushes Emma down and hits her. Henry also forced Emma to say that she loved him. However, Emma tried to fight back by kicking and hitting Henry. Emma then ran to the kitchen, but Henry stabbed her in the leg, causing her to scream in pain. Luckily, Emma managed to grab a bottle of her drink and hit Henry with it. Emma rushed into the CCTV monitor room and took the injection to implant the motion monitoring device. As soon as Henry entered, she managed to inject the device into Henry. She hurriedly seduced Henry before he could attack her again. However, when Henry approached, Emma immediately turned up the stun level on the smart bracelet to the maximum and left Henry suffering. She also left her wedding ring as a sign of divorce. Then, she hurried to take Joe, who was still conscious despite being injured, out of the house.